guess what? Renovation day today. So let's get stuck into this and get it done. Yo mate, what up? Welcome to another lawn tip vid. So first half of reno day today. Today we're going to scalp this lawn and we're going to scarify it and clean it up because I want to get that done before the rain sets in, and I've got the core machine booked in for tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So first thing, we're going to run over it with this John Deere just to do it on the lowest setting so I can do it with the catcher, and then next we're going to scalp it like crazy. I'll show you guys how low we're going to go. I love scalping, man. And then we'll just keep on going. Reno day, man. Cut that whole thing and forgot to engage the catcher. Let's go over that again. Oh, man. You'd think you'd learn your lesson. Alright, let's put you in the gator so it's not too noisy for you. Right, so that is done, first pass. So the reason I did that is just so when it comes to scalping, I'm not taking off heaps with my little push mower. Definitely not something you have to do. And this thing doesn't scalp super low, otherwise I probably just would have used it to scalp the lawn, which would have been so good. We've still got a lot of material off, so it's heaps better than getting a lot of material off with a push mower and struggling through it. Be nice just to cut nice and clean through there. So if you look at the lawn, it looks like pretty low, but I still want to go low with this Kikuyu. Say if you had something like some ryegrass, even something like some tall fescue, you could probably go this low if you really wanted to, just for reno time. Grasses that don't like being cut too short, you could do it for reno about this short, and I wouldn't go any lower. As for buffalo, as long as you could still see some leaf there, like you do here, I think that would be low enough for buffalo. I would recommend not going any lower than this. This is probably around, well, it's probably around 20 mil, maybe a smidge below. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Well, anyway, I've been waiting for, is to get out the big bob and scalp this super hard. Now what I've done is I've drilled a hole in this, a little bit lower down just here, so we can give it a nice heavy scalp. So this thing is basically nearly gonna go to dirt. So let's start her up. And let's just see how much this tears in. Now the reason I want to take this down to dirt is because I want to get this height nice and low, reset it with Kikuyu and Cooch. You can do this, go ahead and do it. You can take it down to dirt nearly if you want to. You want to make sure there's still some runners there and you're not like digging underground, but it's going to be fine. It means that our height's just going to be super reset and low. So when we do end up bringing a real mower on here in the long run, it'll be sweet. Should also mention the main reason we're cutting down super low for a scalp is to get rid of that above ground thatch. So a lot of dead organic material in here, like this sort of stuff just here, which we're trying to get rid of, just so we can get some oxygen back down in there. So this is something I only do once a year, unless I'm trying to reset my height and cut a little bit lower. But yeah, just gonna go real heavy and smash it, bro. tell you what, it's still worth doing that, but it's just too wet. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to stop for today because if I want to Scarify this, I'm just gonna make an absolute mess, not be able to pick it up. Then I'm not gonna be able to clean it up properly, and then if I don't want to top dress on top of Scarifying, I want to clean it up properly so that we have a good reno. So let's hope, man, I'm hoping that it doesn't rain tomorrow, or at least maybe this afternoon. It was supposed to be clear this arvo, so I'll leave this stuff out. It's only sprinkling, but it's enough just to make a mess on this whole lawn, which is frustrating. I'll show you. So this is what it looked like here before it got too wet. You can see, we can still see some soil, which is awesome. This is as low as I want to go with this. It's great because there's some spots a little bit high, and bam, smashed it. You can still see there's runners in there. But yeah, this was a lot drier through here when I did it, so you can see we picked it up nicely. Now as soon as we get over here, you can see it's just all this stuff here still that we took off, and I don't really want to leave that there. I want to clear it out. So what the plan is going to be is I'll come back when hopefully it's a little bit dry this afternoon, clean it up with this mower here, pick it all up because I know it'll do it when it's dry. It's just super wet, and then from there hopefully we'll get to Scarify this afternoon. So I'll see you guys when we get back. Yesterday I ended up getting a little bit more done, picked up all the stuff off the top, so this is nice and clean now. Did the edges here with the blade edger, and then I used the landscape blade as well to knock down some of the stuff on the sides because it was a little bit long because the mower wasn't quite reaching over there. But then that's all I got done because I had some family over for a long weekend. So today, Scarifier, and then we've also got the old Bluebird here from Kennards. Shout out to Kennards for that. To core aerate, and then top dress later on. Let's get it done. Right, so I spoke about this in the last video a little bit, but quick overview of this machine. This is a Scarifier. As you can see by the teeth or the blades in here, quite far apart, which this is designed to get the below ground thatch. And I'll show you in a minute once we pull some out, all the thatch that actually pulls out from underground. So this is going to help get some oxygen down into the root system below, free a bit of compaction up to an extent, not really a lot, and then just allow water to get down and infiltrate into the soil a little bit better as well. So I only like to do this once a year with a hard reno on something like Kikuyu and Cooch. Steer clear of grasses that don't have like runners and stolons and stuff like that. I mean, you could do it to ryegrass, but you just rip it out of the ground. So unless you did a really, really light one. If you did it really light, maybe with a verticutter or a groomer. Right, let's chuck this catcher on, give it a few runs and see how it goes. There we go, that is a lot better. No dirt in that. Maybe a smidge, but basically nothing. And lots of dead stuff in there. Woo. Beautiful. 2 runs and I got a full thing. That's ridiculous. Alright, so that's all done. Scarified it in 2 directions. And the reason we do that is so in case we miss any parts, and it does actually pull out just as much when you go over the second time. Oh man, look at this. So as it got drier, we didn't really get any dirt or anything, which is good. Just all the dead material. Now that stuff is all under the soil. Look at that. Like, how good is that, clearing all that out and letting all the oxygen back down towards our roots there. Now obviously it does take a while for this to come back after doing this, which makes sense. You've absolutely decimated the thing, which is actually quite satisfying to do. But look at all these runners too. Like, it's pulled out some big suckers. Honestly, that machine did an awesome job. Very impressed with it. We got a lot out. I set it a bit deeper than you probably generally normally would, because it's probably never been done here. And there's quite a bit of thatch down there. But sweet, that is done. So now we are on to core aeration. Alright, so this here is the core machine. So this one here has a barrel on it basically, and it'll just spin around. When you drop it into the ground, you can set your height with a dial here, I'm pretty sure. We'll figure it out as we go. But you can actually put some weight blocks in it, which is a great idea to get it to go a little bit deeper down to the ground, especially got some harder soil. So these are the weights here, which just slot on the side. I won't put them in until I got it on the lawn. Yeah. These things abuse you, I tell you what, they do abuse you. But it'll work well. Let's use it. We'll go over it in 2 directions. Now the reason we're core aerating, just want to say quickly, is to get rid of compaction. Again, help get some nutrients and water down to the root zone, and then when we top dress, it'll actually help with some drainage as well, because we use some sand. So we'll top dress with sand, and since we're putting holes in there, those holes will be filled up with sand, and we'll be able to get some water and nutrients and even some oxygen down there just a little bit easier as well. So as you can see, it's pulled some cores out of the ground. They're about 2 inches deep, maybe 3. Yeah, they're probably about 3 inches. So they look pretty good. Now this soil is actually pretty good. A little bit clayey, but it's nothing like my old house. Like, my old house was so clayey, like it was ridiculous. This actually breaks up and crumbles in your hand. But as you can imagine, we're pulling these plugs out of the ground. So we replace that with some sand. It's obviously going to help with drainage, as I said before, and nutrients and oxygen and water getting down there as well. So it's going to be awesome. Now this thing looks like a mess. It's quite a big mess. This is still a little bit wet, so we'll try and pick it up with a mower. We're not going to have much luck raking it off, to be honest. Oh, I could. Let's see how the mower goes first, but the mower doesn't work, we'll rake it off. You could leave this on here if you wanted to. You don't have to take them off. I personally like to take them off. Some people like to leave them there, let them like smoosh down on top with your top dress as well. But I mean, if your soil is wet like this, it's not really going to break down that easily. If this was a bit drier, I reckon the plugs wouldn't even be as intact at the moment. Anyway, that's the job done. I only went over it once because I was stuffed, and because I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, I mean, probably something like a hydrostatic one that's just going to punch holes straight down. It's going to get them closer together, like we used to use on the golf course. We'll probably do a better job as well and pull out a cleaner core instead of that barrel roller, but that thing still worked well. That's what I had access to. Right, so top dressing day. So I let the sand dry for a couple of days because it was really wet, and unfortunately spreading sand when it's wet is just a big struggle. I mean, I technically could have put it in piles and let it dry out a little bit quicker, but I've got the time and I thought, let's make this a big long video. So I was going to split it up into 2 videos, but let's do this big video. So I'll let the sand dry out for a bit. We'll top dress it. I'll feel a little bit more, I don't know, a bit better about letting it dry out and just doing it. So today I'll show you guys how we top dress lawns. Let's get the shovel first. So generally for a light top dress, you'd probably go about 10 mil thick, which is about a metre, which is about a cube, over 100 square metres. Now we're going to go a bit thick here today because there's some low spots and I really want to level this lawn out. So we're going to cover this like completely, use quite a lot of sand. So it's just going to be a feel thing. I ordered about 7 tonne, which we probably won't use all of that. This is 250 square metres here. But we might get close because there's some dips everywhere. But how I do it is, if you've got no top dressing machine, you can use a shovel and a wheelbarrow, or a tractor if you've got one. And all you do is put it on the ground, flick it out. It's as easy as that. Nothing too fancy about it. So top dressing done on the lawn. We've got to rub it in now, but let me show you guys how thick I went, because I went like stupid thick because this lawn is pretty unlevel for me to get a cylinder mower on it. So I've covered it like crazy. Kikuyu, sorry, are fine to do this. Don't do this for buffalo. Zoysia, I wouldn't go as thick because it's so slow growing. When it comes to cool season grass like Primavera grass, even Kentucky bluegrass and even tall fescue, don't go thick like this. Stick to your 10 mil per, or 10 mil thickness if you can. It's at least an inch in thickness there, so that is super duper thick. Now be aware, this is going to take a lot longer to come back because I have done this so thick. I'm not stressed about it though. I know it will. It'll probably take a month, maybe even a little bit longer than that for it to really come through, just because it is so flippin' thick. But I'm not stressed. I know Kikuyu will come through. It's just going to take some time. Done. Pretty happy with that level actually. Went over it a few times. It looks pretty good. It's thick. It is so thick, but you know what? Shape it up, bud. It'll be good. It'll be really good. So last step is to put some fertilizer down. Now I sort of want to time it with some rain, just because we don't have a lot of water here, as I've talked about previously. Supposed to be getting some rain tomorrow, so a bit of a chance tomorrow, yeah. So what I'll do is I'll put some fertilizer out tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon before the rain comes, and let it water it in as well. Now after this, to keep up with this lawn, it's going to be best if I keep the moisture up to this as much as I can. So I've actually timed this pretty well because I've got like quite a bit of rain coming over the next week, so I'll probably be safe. We won't have to water this too much. And the reason you want to keep the water up to it a little bit more than you normally would is just because it can dry out a little bit because you've got sand on top of it and you've just punched some holes in it, and you're trying to get the grass to grow through as well. So you really want to make sure you're keeping the moisture up to it so it doesn't dry out and stress out, because it looks like a beach right now, and you know what a beach is like when you walk on it. Hot on the feet, boy. Oh, I'll mention one more thing. The sand that I got here is sort of, it's a wash sand. It's actually like a bricky sand, but it's not like the bricky sand that's really, really fine. Like, it's got quite a bit of coarse in it as well. You don't want to go for really, really fine bricky sand or something like that, because you're just going to create issues with it getting really compacted and hard when it dries out. If it gets wet, then it dries out. So you really want to go for something. If you want to find some sand, go to your local landscape place and ask them what do they use on the golf course for top dressing. If they have no idea or you can't find out, see if you can find out from someone in town that works on a golf course if you can, because really, really hard to explain what sort of sand you need when you're top dressing your lawn. So just be aware of that. Yeah, but this is like, it's a mix of coarse and fine. It's washed as well, so it's got no weed seeds in it. And it's going to be great for drainage on top of that. Otherwise, ask for an 80-20 mix, 90-10 mix, or USGA sand if you can as well. And most of the time, wash pit sand is going to be fine also. Thanks guys so much for watching, really appreciate it. Hope you learned something from that. Keep an eye on the channel and see how this thing progresses over the weeks, because I'll be showing you guys in every video that I upload how it's starting to progress along. Anyway, thanks. See you.